Welcome back. We're here today with the Grizzl-E charger by United Chargers. Now you're not going to want to miss this review because you're going to see the Grizzl-E get driven over by an SUV in a parking lot, then taken out on a frozen Canadian lake and run over by an Argo all-terrain vehicle. Then we're going to take it, we're going to put it in our deep freezer here and do the cable test where it's going to sit overnight at temperatures lower than -10 degrees Fahrenheit. We do that to see just how flexible the cable is for those that have to have the charger installed outdoors and live in cold weather areas. We're then going to take a close look at the connector holster. We're going to see how easy it is to operate, and then we're going to compare it to some connector holsters from competing brands. We're then going to take this and rate it on our proprietary point-based charger rater system. But first, I'm going to ask you to click that subscribe button below so you don't miss any future charging station and electric vehicle reviews that we do here on State of Charge. Now, the Grizzl-E is a 40 amp charger and it costs only $399. That's actually a great value for a powerful charger. Now, it comes in a plug-in version only. You can choose either a NEMA 1450 or NEMA 650 plug, and there's no difference in price. It comes standard with an 18-foot cable, but there is an optional 24-foot cable that only costs $20 extra. You also can choose from the regular cable or what they call a premium cable, also $20 extra. The premium cable is meant to be better for outdoor installations in cold weather areas. It's supposed to be more flexible, a little bit tougher. Now don't forget, this is a Canadian company, United Chargers. Many of the people have these installed outside their homes, so they want the cables to be really tough and be able to handle tough Canadian winters. We got our unit with the extra 6 feet of cable, so we paid extra for the 24-foot cable, and we also got it with the premium cable so we could do the charger deep freeze test and see if it lives up to its billing as being very flexible even in the coldest of temperatures. Now, if you don't live in a cold weather area, you probably don't need to spend the extra $20. If you live in Southern California or Miami or Texas or whatever, I'd stick with the regular cable. But I would recommend paying the extra $20 and get the extra 6-foot long cable for a 24-foot cable. You might not think you need it now, but in the future you may, and for only $20, it's definitely worth it. Now, the Grizzl-E is very easy to install. You need to have a NEMA 1450 or 650 outlet to plug the Grizzl-E into, so hopefully you've done that before you bought the unit. The Grizzl-E comes with 2 mounting plates, a base plate that gets attached to the wall and a second plate that you attach to the back of the Grizzl-E. You then snap the unit into the wall-mounted plate and slide the supplied pin through the hole in the back of the unit to secure it in place. United Chargers also offers a lock that you can order with the charger for an additional $14.99. It replaces the standard mounting pin and is very useful if you install the unit outside of your home or in a garage of a multifamily property. The lock keeps the Grizzl-E safely secured to prevent theft. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for everybody's favorite part of the EV charger tests, the deep freeze cable test. In this freezer, I placed the Grizzl-E last night about 14 hours ago. This is a commercial ice cream freezer. It gets really cold, somewhere between -10 and -20 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to take a temperature reading first to show you just how cold it's been in there all night for the Grizzl-E. Okay, -9 degrees Fahrenheit, which is -22.9 degrees Celsius. So yeah, it's cold in there. I'm going to take the Grizzl-E out now. We're going to see how the cable acts. Now, when I put the chargers in here, I always wrap the cables up in a tight loop. The goal is then to take the cable out, hang it on the wall, unravel the cable, and see how easy it is to then roll it up in big long loops. Basically, we want to see how flexible it is. Did it freeze in that tight loop, or can you bend it and really negotiate it and do what you want to do with it even when it's really cold outside? Let's take a look. Okay, as you can see, the cable is rolled up in a really tight loop. Now let's unravel it and see how it rolls up. Seems like it's not doing too bad. That's not too bad. It's a thick cable that the Grizzl-E has to begin with, so it's going to be a little bit less bendable than some of the chargers that have really thin cables. Like the Tesla wall connector over there has a very thin cable. The Grizzl-E's cable is much thicker. As you can see, you might be able to see that there's frost on the cable. So let me see how the cable acts now as I roll it up in larger loops. Okay, it is bending. That's not bad. Okay, so that's not bad. See, it easily unbent and came into these large loops like this. Now, it's probably, I wouldn't give it as good a grade as we gave the ChargePoint Home Flex, which was a really good cable. But you see how that bends? That's pretty good. It's much better than the NLX juice box, which wouldn't bend at all. Now, as I noted earlier, this is the cold weather cable option on the Grizzl-E. It costs $20 extra. So if you live in cold weather areas, I would recommend getting the it's only $20 extra, and it probably bends a lot better than the standard one. This isn't bad. This is a very good score. Maybe not absolutely excellent, but very good. And it's going to get an extra point on the charger rater scale because definitely would recommend this for cold weather areas. Some chargers come with an attached connector holster and cable management system. As you can see behind me on the wall, you can see the connector is holstered right into the main unit. But some chargers don't. They give you a remote connector holster, and that's the case with the Grizzl-E. The Grizzl-E gives you this connector holster here, which they call the EVSE EV plug. Now, they call it that because they claim it's much easier to holster the connector with their holster than it is on some of these competing brands. Now, the reason being is, as you can see here, it has a wide opening. It's a tapered opening, unlike these that have the exact size of the connector. You almost have to be perfect and get it in. So what United Chargers tells us is, no matter how you put the connector in this hole, it will lock. You don't have to be perfect. The taper is going to guide it into the hole. You don't even have to hold the connector. So I'm going to hold the cable. All right, worked. So there you go. So this would be on the wall like this. Okay, yes, seems like it worked pretty good. So this hole, the way it works is it just glides it in and snaps. So that's actually better than I expected. Works really well. Now, it's not the same with some of these other connectors where you kind of have to be perfect. Now, it's not that hard, but you know, if you're carrying packages and you just want to quickly holster the connector, you kind of have to be very close to perfect. Now, the trick is on the bottom of the J1772 connector, you see there's like a little tab at the bottom here, and on the connector holsters, it's down there on the bottom. What you kind of want to do is angle it so you line up that tab and then guide it into the connector holster. That's how I found to make it easier, but it's work and you have to look closely at it. And on these remote connector holsters, there's no backlights. So it could be in a dark area, you could be fumbling to try to get it in, and that's why the EVSE EV plug really does make it simple. It has this really wide opening. You just have to find the opening and the connector will snap in there. Now, I know you're probably wondering, okay, what is this on the end? Well, this is Clipper Creek's connector holster design. It's actually pretty cool. It's side mounted. This would go on the wall like this, and the connector goes in sideways, and it slides in and locks in place. It actually works pretty well also. It kind of guides the connector in, not as well as the EVSE EV plug does, but it's pretty simple once you get it in there, and it has a lot of protection from adverse weather conditions. So I kind of like Clipper Creek's adaptation of the remote connector holster. But what you'll also notice is on these three at least, they have tabs that stick up on the top. And the Grizzl-E's sticks up a little bit further than the competing ones. And that's good because you're going to loop the cable around this when it's on the wall. And you want it to be able to hold the cable from falling off. I remember when I was testing the first generation eMotorWorks juice box. And actually this is the connector holster for it. And you can see it's very small. And the juice box's cable was long and thick. And it would always fall off the top. If you had just one layer of cable, if you tried to do the second layer, the cable would fall off. This is a little bit higher, so I think it's going to hold the Grizzl-E's cable in a little bit better than what I noticed with the first generation juice box. Now the second generation juice box, which we recently reviewed, has an integrated connector holster and cable management system, so they don't use this anymore. This is an old connector holster that they used to use. So is it better to have a remote connector holster or one that's integrated into the unit? It really depends on what you prefer. Personally, I like to see an integrated connector holster and then the company also give you one of these in the box. The reason being is the good thing about these remote connector holsters are you can locate it anywhere you want in the garage. If your charger is on a wall here, but the side of the car where you plug in is on a far wall, you could put it right next to, on the wall, right next to where your plug is, so your connector's right there. You pull in the garage and you can just grab the connector and plug it in. When you're done, just grab it and plug it back in. So it kind of, it definitely is something that makes it easier where you don't have to walk the cable across the garage to plug the car in. I like having these. I think you should have both. The solution that the Grizzl-E has chosen with this remote connector holster works. This thing actually works pretty well, so it's not going to lose any points on a charger rater score for sure. This is actually a very good remote connector holster. One of the features I like to see on EV chargers is that they have adjustable power, and the Grizzl-E does. You can set an internal dip switch so that the unit will deliver 16, 24, 32, or the full 40 amps. When you order the Grizzl-E, you specify which power level you want it set at, and it will come with that rating. However, if you need to change it, you simply open the front of the cover up, which is just 4 screws, and you set the dip switch to the power that you want it to deliver. Now, the Grizzl-E is also one of the most solid chargers on the market today. It has a NEMA 4 rated enclosure, which means it can withstand even the pressure of a direct blast of a garden hose. Now, NEMA 4 rated chargers are a little bit better than NEMA 3 rated chargers for outdoor installations when you're in a cold weather area or an area that gets frequent blowing rainstorms. The difference between NEMA 3 and NEMA 4 chargers is that the NEMA 4 rated chargers will prevent water from getting in the enclosure even in extreme conditions. Now, NEMA 3 rated enclosures are still good for outdoor installations, and you don't have any problem with those if you live in a mild climate area. But if you're in a really extreme weather area like some of the northern states that get really a lot of blowing snowstorms, or even just the states that get frequent heavy rainstorms with blowing rain, you might want to consider a NEMA 4 rated charger, and the Grizzl-E is NEMA 4 rated. Now, the owners of the United chargers are very proud of how durable and strong the Grizzl-E is. And the CEO actually, to prove how strong it was, took the Grizzl-E out into the parking lot of United Chargers and drove over it with his SUV on pavement. And that wasn't enough. He then took it out onto a frozen Canadian lake and drove over it 3 times with an Argo all-terrain vehicle. He then dunked it into the ice water on the lake, drove it back to their facility and plugged it in to prove that it still works. So this is one tough unit here, tougher than most. Now, one thing about the Grizzl-E is it has a very thick cable, which is heavy. It's not a problem, but I prefer the cables to be a little bit thinner. I prefer durable cable that's flexible and thin. This works fine, and as we said earlier, this is the extreme weather cable, which costs $20 extra. It's not a problem, but I prefer them to be a little bit thinner than that. The connector is also kind of plasticky, and I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of it. It seems like it's a little bit less durable than maybe some of the other connectors that we have on some of the competing brands. That cost more, I need to note. But you know, connectors, say for the ChargePoint Home Flex or the Clipper Creek HCS 40, just feels better in your hand, and they feel like they're a little bit more quality. I don't think anybody will have any problem with this. It seems durable enough. I'm just comparing them, you know, head to head with other connectors, and it's probably not the best connector that I see on the market, although I'm sure it will work fine. It'll be durable. It won't give you any problems. But if there was something that you could probably improve on the Grizzl-E, I might ask for a little bit of a thinner cable and perhaps a little bit better connector. Other than that, it's a pretty good unit and an excellent value at the starting price of only $399. Well, that wraps up our review for the Grizzl-E. It's now time to give the Grizzl-E its ratings. First up, we go to our Charger Rater, which is a point-based system based on 5 categories: cost and value, power and weatherproofing, construction and durability, smart or non-smart, safety certified, and warranty. In each category, the Charger starts off with 15 points and either gains or loses points depending on its features and performance. First up, cost and value. The Grizzl-E gets 1 point on the first line because its cost is less than $500, so it adds a point. Second is value. We give the Grizzl-E an excellent rating because even with the 2 options we got, the Charger still only cost $439, which is less than $500. And for what this Charger offers with its 40 amp power rating, the adjustable power, the very good cable for cold weather, the extreme durability of the NEMA 4 rated case, we think it's an excellent value. It finishes up the cost and value category with 18 points. Next up is power and weatherproofing. On the first line is the power delivery. Now the Grizzl-E doesn't gain or lose points because the baseline is a 10 kilowatt charger. This delivers 10 kilowatts. If it delivered more power, it would gain points. If it delivered less power, it would lose points. No points on that line. Next up is adjustable power. Is the unit adjustable? Can you change the power levels? Yes, you can with the Grizzl-E. We talked about that earlier. There's 4 distinct power levels. It gets an extra point. The NEMA rating. The Grizzl-E is NEMA 4 rated. It gets 2 extra points. Is it Energy Star certified? No, it isn't. No points there. Does it do automatic restart? That means if the charger's in the middle of a charging session, the power goes out, then the power is restored. Will it reinitialize the charging session and charge the car again? We tested the Grizzl-E. Yes, it does. It gets a point there. It finishes up the power and weatherproof rating category with 19 points. Next up is construction and durability. For the connector holster, even though we do like the remote connector holster that is included and think it's one of the better remote connector holsters, we're just giving it an average rating and it doesn't gain or lose any points. We really like to see integrated connector holsters and to have them backlit so at night it's easy to find the connector holster. That's really what gives the Charger extra points in that category. Although for a remote connector holster, the Easy EV plug that comes with the Grizzl-E is very good. No points there. Next up, cable length. The Grizzl-E gets a point in that category because we ordered it with the longer cable. Cable pliability, excellent rating. You saw the deep freeze cable test. It did very well. It gets an extra point there. Robust construction, definitely an extra point. If there was 2 points for that category, it would get that. It's one of the best built and strongest chargers on the market today. Next, plug-in or hardwired. In that category, the Charger can only lose points, and it does that if it only comes in a hardwired version. The Grizzl-E does come in a plug-in version, no points there. Ease of installation, you don't gain points, you can only lose points if it's a difficult installation, so no points there. Finishes up the construction and durability category with 18 points. Smart or non-smart, the Grizzl-E is not a smart charger. It's not going to get any points in any of these categories, so it will finish up that category with 15 points. Next up, safety and certified. Is the Grizzl-E safety certified? Yes, it is. It's UL listed. It doesn't gain any points for that because we believe all of the units should be safety certified. If it wasn't, it would have lost 5 points. The chargers take a big hit if they're not safety certified. Next up is warranty. The Grizzl-E comes with a very good 3-year warranty, which adds 2 points to its score, and it finishes up the safety certified and warranty category with 17 points. So the Grizzl-E's grand total is 87 points. When we translate that into a 5-star rating, it gets 4.35 stars out of 5. Now, we don't just use the Charger Rater score. I then add my own personal score because I believe that you can't quantify everything based on points. We then average the 2 scores and come up with a final score. I really like the Grizzl-E. I think it's a great value for a high-powered charger that's extremely durable, and I give it 4.75 stars out of 5. When we combine that with the Charger Rater score, we get a total of 4.55 stars out of 5, which is very good. The Grizzl-E is definitely a recommended charger by us here. I think for somebody that's not looking for a smart charger, that just wants a charger that plugs in, will charge their car quickly, and that's durable and comes with a good warranty, the Grizzl-E might be your best choice. It's a very good charger at a very good price, and we fully endorse it here on State of Charge. Well, that's it for the Grizzl-E review. If you like what we're doing here, if you want to see all of our charging station reviews and electric vehicle reviews, don't forget, please click the subscribe button below, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.